here for us. And some of the things that it says is it tells us, for example, this STAR test is from the spring of 2018. And I know it's from the spring of 2018 because when I'm looking at the test, I'm able to see spring and I see the year 2018. Some of the other stuff it tells me is it's number 5 in the test. So that means it comes close to the very beginning of the test. There's about 48, 50 questions on your science STAR test, okay? So this is at the very beginning, and that tells us a lot of times what the students were thinking. It tells us even like energy level, right? How they were feeling, because that also can play an effect on whether or not they answer the question correctly, right? And so then it also tells us the standard, okay? And when we see that 55A for us, what that means is it means that it's green, okay? And when we're talking green or yellow, green means that it's a standard you're learning now in 5th grade. It's what we call a readiness standard. If it's yellow, it's supporting. That means that you've learned it other years and it just kind of supports our understanding of the science we're doing today. So it breaks it apart in different ways. You can see, right, this one's kind of already done for us, and it tells us the table lists some physical properties of 2 objects. Does it tell me what the objects are, guys? Right here, do I know what the objects are? Does it give me the name of the objects? It says object 1 and object 2, but do I know exactly what the objects are? No, right? It's just giving me clues. That's all it's doing right now. So, and it tells me, right? So object 1 is a solid. Object 2 is also a solid. Object 1 insulates thermal energy, and object 2 conducts thermal energy. So it makes me wonder, what materials do I know are conductors? I know metal is a conductor. What else is a conductor? Brass. What else? Aluminum, copper, right? What else? Iron, right, is also, now remember, we're looking at thermal energy though. Iron would still be, but not the nail specifically. Iron would conduct thermal energy, which means heat, right? Okay. And we have iron right here. I know my writing is not the best with the little pen, but it says iron. Then insulates thermal energy. This means it stops it, right? The energy cannot flow through it. It slows it down. And remember, we're looking at thermal energy. Okay, so I know it's going to be the opposite of that, right? We're talking plastic, rubber. We know it's like cloth, those kinds of things. Object 1 is less dense than water. If an object is less dense than water, does it sink or float, guys? We just did this, Jerry. If an object is less dense, it floats, guys. If an object is less dense than water, it floats. Now, this object is more dense than water. That means it sinks. It goes down. This one is a poor electrical conductor. That means it cannot allow electrical energy to go through. And this one is a good electrical conductor. That means it does allow it to go through, right? So all those. So then it tells me, based on their properties, which of the objects is most likely a metal? So which one do I think is most likely a metal? So we already know that because we already wrote it. So which one would be a metal, guys? Object 1 or 2? Object 2 would be the metal, right? So which ones can I automatically get rid of? Which answer choices? So which answer choices say object 1? And I don't just want Jerry talking, guys. Everybody can unmute and talk. You need to participate. So I can get rid of A and I can get rid of D because those say object 1. I'm only focusing on object 2. So let's look at what B and C say. So object 2, because all metals float in water. And C says object 2 because metals conduct thermal energy and electricity. Which one has something wrong with it? Which answer choice? Why? What does B have wrong with it? What does it say? Very good. Here where it says metals float in water, that's wrong. I know that metals sink, right? Exactly, right? And we know that the little foam, popcorn or marshmallows, right? It floated up on top. So was this a hard question, guys? No, it wasn't, right? Not hard at all. Okay, so what I always like to do is I always like to take a look at what the state of Texas did compared to how we answered it. Now, do you think if you all had a question like this, you all would be able to answer it? Is it something you'd be able to answer, guys? I need to hear you. Yes or no? Yes, it would be, right? It would be something that I would be able to answer. And so when I'm looking at this, guys, so the way it works is this question, or when we're looking at these STAR questions, they test everybody in the state of Texas, right? So that's the results we have. So 86% of the state of Texas got this right. That means most all kids, and we're talking like in the millions, okay? Most all fifth grade kids in the year of 2018 got this question right. Because 86% is good, right? That's a good percentage. Okay, was the number one a picture? This first one we did no, right? Look at another question. So now that you know what it's like and you understand it's not complicated, we're going to continue and we're going to look at more questions. Now, in looking at this one, okay? I need you to understand, remember when we had that conversation, I said that, and I let you all know that 90% of STAR is pictures. Is this a picture? No, right? This one's not a picture. Okay, so let's see how it goes. So this one, oh, look at that. This one is item 16. So does it come in the beginning, the middle, or the end of the test? Like the middle-ish, right? 16, okay. Again, it's still from 2018, right? So we're looking at the same group of fifth graders. It's 5.5a, right? So we know that that one is definitely going over physical properties of matter. So let's take a look at it. Students are investigating properties of objects. So I already know that we're investigating properties of objects. Okay. They observe 4 objects and record observations for each object in the table. So I know I'm looking at 4 of them. Okay. Properties of 4 objects. So let's take a look at what it has. I don't know what the objects are, so it looks like I'm probably going to have to be guessing again, right? So object K, it says it is a liquid. Ooh, it's not magnetic. And it's not soluble in water. Well, what liquid do we know that's not magnetic and does not dissolve in water? What liquid could it possibly be? I'm going to go with it could be oil. Very good, because oil does not dissolve in water. It could also just be water, right? Water is not going to dissolve in itself if it's already water. Okay, those are good guesses. Let's go to object L. Is it a liquid? So no, it's not a liquid. So if it's not a liquid, it can either be, what other 2 options do we have if it's not liquid? It could be what? Right? So solid or gas. Let's see if it gives us any more clues. Attracted to a magnet? Yes. Oh, so can it be a gas? No, right? So we know it's definitely a solid, and it's not soluble in water. Okay, what solids do we know that are attracted to magnets? Iron, metal, brass, copper, right? I'm going to just put it like that. Okay. Now, object M. Is it a liquid? No. So again, we have solid or gas. Attracted to a magnet. Ooh, this one says no. This one says soluble in water. Does gas dissolve in water, guys? No, right? We can't even really see that happening. So it's definitely a solid. What solids do we know that we've tested that are soluble in water? Salt. Oops, sugar. Right? Those are the 2 we've tested, right? So I'm going to put those. Object N. Okay. Is it a liquid? No. So again, we're looking at solid or gas. Attracted to a magnet? No. Soluble in water? No. So it could be either a solid or a gas. So we're not sure for that one, right? But did we test solids that are not soluble in water and that are not magnetic? Sand, very good. Sand isn't magnetic and it's not soluble in water, so that's a good one. What if I tested little rocks, like pebbles? Do you think pebbles are magnetic? No, right? So maybe it could be rocks as well, right? Okay. Or it could, right? It could possibly be. Let's go ahead and take a look now at our answer choices and let's see what we can say. So it says, based on the student's observations, which of these tables properly identifies the object? So I need something that properly, what does properly identify mean? Am I looking for what's right or what's wrong? If I'm doing something properly, I'm doing what's right, okay? So I need to find what's right. So I'm looking for correct, okay? Correct answers. So let's see. Which one of these, just by looking at them, I'm going to read them off and you tell me which ones I can get rid of. So we said letter K could be oil or water. Well, let's take a look. Letter K says oil on F, so that one so far is right. Ooh, letter J says oil too. Letter G says pancake syrup. Do you think pancake syrup dissolves in water? Maybe. Okay, so we're not sure, but maybe. Okay. Let's see. Letter L. So far I'm going to go ahead and put maybe for both of those two. Okay, letter L, iron needle. Well, we know that letter L is a solid and it's magnetic. Okay, so iron needle. Remember, I don't care that it's a needle. I care that it's made of iron. Is iron magnetic? Guys, is iron magnetic? Yes, right? Remember, I should hear everybody answering, guys. These are simple. Okay, they do. Iron and magnetism love each other, right? A safety pin. Yes, a safety pin. Do you all think that a safety pin is magnetic? What's it made of? Metal. Okay, so maybe a sugar cube. Is a sugar cube magnetic, guys? No. So then can I keep going with G? No, G's out. Ooh, letter J, safety pin as well. Yep. Okay, so far we eliminated one though. Okay, letter M. We said letter M is a solid that's soluble in water. Ooh, letter F says pancake syrup. Is pancake syrup a solid, guys? No, guys, it's a liquid. It's a very thick liquid. So nope. Can we continue with letter F? Nope. Okay. Letter M, cotton candy. Well, is cotton candy a solid? Yeah, it's not a liquid and it's definitely not a gas. So is it a solid? Yes. Okay. Sugar cube. Is a sugar cube a solid that dissolves in water? Yes. Okay. So far we're between H and J. Let's keep going. Letter N, we said could be a solid or gas, right? But we know for sure for solids that we tested, sand and rocks. So letter H says N is an iron needle. Can it be an iron needle? Very good, because it has no for, right? And we know that iron loves magnetism, right? So we know then for sure that that's it. H is out. A rubber ball? Yeah, right. We can test. We've tested that when we tested when you all did the rubber ducky with Miss Urias to see if it would dissolve in water, that extra lab. Did the rubber ducky dissolve in water, guys? Does that happen when you put a rubber ducky in water? It dissolves, it disappears? No, right? If not, imagine every rubber ducky that little kids took a shower with when they play in the bathtub. They'd have to buy a new one every time because it would dissolve in the water. That's craziness. They would. I know I would too. So letter J is my answer. Now, did you see all the work I did here? Did I just read through it and whatever, let me just circle what I want? No, guys, you have to check each answer choice, okay? Especially when there's not a picture. You really, really, really got to check. Exactly. This would be enough for my justify. I wouldn't need to write anything else. This is enough work because I'm analyzing, I'm going through. Now it takes longer because I'm talking with you all through it, but normally it does not take that long. Okay? And remember, you guys are going to be in an advantage because what do you guys get to use that no other fifth grade class before you has gotten to use at home? Exactly. Which is why I say it's super important for us to be doing those labs and taking all those notes. Okay? So, percentage, what percentage of the state of Texas do you think got this one right? Look at all the work we had to do. How many kids? It's the middle of the test. Do you think maybe we're just like, I could figure it out without doing the work? So, what percentage do you think got this right? You think we're looking at 86% again? You're thinking lower? What are you thinking? Lower? Okay, about how much? 70, 60%? What are we thinking? 70 to 60%. Okay, so I'm going to tell you guys 78% of the state of Texas, 78% got this right. 12%, guys, 12% of a million, a little over a million, that's a lot. They chose this answer. Exactly. They chose this one. They said that letter M had to be pancake syrup, that pancake syrup is a solid. Exactly. It makes no sense, right? But again, that's because you have to go through it, right? 7%, get this, 7% chose, 7% chose this one. So you're talking 7% of a million, and then only, thank goodness, only 3%, woof, pick this one, which was the first one we eliminated, thank goodness. But yeah, look at that, 12%, guys. That's how it was split up. Ooh, okay, does this one have a picture for us now? It does, right? And what do we have here? We have different what, guys? Just by looking at the picture, they're different what? Different liquids, and it's in a graduated cylinder. What have we done with properties of matter where we've looked at liquids? Think of all the properties we've had. What have we done that we do with liquids? Did we do magnetism? We did solubility, you're right. Okay, so maybe it has to do with that just without even reading it. What else did we do? Huh? Density. Oh, and look at that. And what do we see all these liquids are doing? They're separated from each other, right? So that tells me there's one on top of the other. So which one do we think it's going to be? Solubility or density? What do you think? Which property are we going to be looking at? We're probably going to be looking at density. Okay, that's probably the property that we're going to be looking at. Okay, so now oh, look, 29. You're getting closer to the end of the test, right? So you got to keep that in mind. It's still 5-5A, so still looking at physical properties and obviously still the same year. So let's look. A student measured out 10 milliliters of 4 clear liquids and added 1 drop of a different colored dye to each liquid. That's interesting. So 10 milliliters of 4 clear liquids. Oh, that's probably why they added the dye, because they were all clear and they need to know which liquid is which, right? And if they're all clear, the only way is by putting that food coloring in so that I can tell the difference. That was smart. One of the liquids was water. Okay, so I know water is for sure one of them, so definitely density. The student then carefully poured each liquid into a graduated cylinder and let the mixture settle for 30 minutes. The student observed that the liquids had separated into layers as shown in the diagram. So they noticed that they separated, right? They called it a mixture because it's more than 2 materials. So let's see what it says. Which of these procedures would help the student identify the layer of water? Ooh. So this one's tough. Let's see, which one's going to help them identify the layer of water? Stir the liquids. Oh, go ahead. Yeah, exactly. Right? That's exactly what would happen. So let's see, it says stir the liquids, let them settle, and then identify the bottom layer as water. Well, but how would I know that the bottom one is water just from mixing it? Does that make sense? I don't think stirring them, I don't think doing this is going to help me know that this is water. Let's see. Drop a piece of ice into the graduated cylinder, let the ice settle, and then identify the layer just above the ice as water. Hmm? That doesn't, no, I don't think that dropping a piece of ice in is going to work. And why would the layer just above the ice be water? What happens when you put ice in a cup, guys? What does your ice do? Well, yeah, but does your ice sink or float? If my ice, when I put ice in my drinks, guys, my ice goes to the top. Even if I put it in water, right? Yes? So my ice floats. So this says that I'm going to put a piece of ice in. This is what it says. I'm going to put right here, I have my liquids. I'm going to put my piece of ice in. And then it says that it's going to settle. And it's going to settle, say, here. And it says that the layer just above the ice, that this layer would be water. Is that what happens? I don't know about you guys, but when I put a cup with ice, my ice is always at the top like this. My ice does not go down. So can it be B? No, right? Especially because it says that the ice is going to settle and that the water is going to be above the ice. That's wrong. Case. Yeah. C, add water to the graduated cylinder, let the mixture settle, and then identify the layer that increases in volume as water. So I see. So I'm going to put the liquids in. I'm going to put water. And then I'm going to identify the volume, the one that increases as water. Well, let's see if that makes sense. If I had, wait, what happened? Oh, it doesn't really matter. Okay. It erased the picture. That's like part of it. I can still draw. Okay, if I had this little cylinder here, right? If I had it. And I have my 4 liquids. 1, 2, 3, 4. If I all of a sudden put water in it, right? Is the volume, is the amount of liquid in there going to go up? If I pour more, guys, is it going to be higher? If I pour more liquid in there, is it going to go higher? Yes, right? So it would go higher. So that kind of sounds like that's a pretty good idea. Yeah, but we're not putting ice anymore, right? We decided that was a bad idea. We're going to go with this one here. So what they're saying is to put liquid 1, 2, and 3. And then when I add in, the 4th layer, what it's telling me is that when I add in that 4th layer, the volume is going to go up. And it's true, right? If I put more water, it's going to get higher. So if I put more water, it says that it'll get higher. And then I can just say, I'm not saying which one is the water necessarily. I'm just saying this is how much water I put in. Does that make sense? So I'm not saying which one's water. I'm just saying that's how much water I put in so that I can know. Okay, last one we have, carefully pour each layer into separate plastic containers. Place the containers in a freezer and then identify the liquid that takes the longest to freeze as water. That definitely would not work, guys. Because we don't know what the other ones freeze at. Instead of the one that takes the longest to freeze, what do I know water freezes at? At what temperature? 0 degrees Celsius. If it would have said find the liquid that is 0 degrees Celsius, then I could identify which one is water. But if I'm trying to do density, is me putting it in the freezer going to help me do density? No, right? So then my answer and this one was a complicated one, guys. The answer is actually C. Now, this one was complicated. What do you think the state of Texas did? How do you think those kids did? What percentage are we thinking? 50? Okay, I hear 50%. What else, guys? What other numbers do we think? What are we guessing here? Natalie says 50%. In between 50 and 60%. Okay, because it's kind of tough, right? It's kind of tough one. So this one was actually, for letter C, 55%. So yeah, 55%. So you got to think about that. Out of a million or over a million fifth graders in the state of Texas that took this in 2018, only a little over half got this question right. 13% chose A, another 13% chose D, and then you had, no, I'm sorry, it was 13% chose B. I gave you those numbers wrong. So it's actually 13% chose B, and then you had 16% pick A and 16% pick B. So they were kind of all over the place, right? Yeah, they were kind of all over the place, right? And so to really understand that question, we really need to understand density. Okay, so I'm sorry, go ahead. Every morning we're going to be doing one question. Yes. So we're going to, every morning, the way it typically works is we're going to do properties of matter, and it'll get fast, guys. It'll be to where we do it in like 10 minutes. We do properties of matter and we do one question. Okay. That's how it's going to be every day. That's going to be how we start science every day. One picture for property of matter and then one science question. And they're going to be star released questions. Okay. So we have run out of our science time. However, I am going to, throughout the day, when we have our little brain breaks, I'll be putting trivia up with some of these, some more of these questions so we can kind of take a look just to help us prepare for our test tomorrow. And then I'm also going to be posting a review online for you guys with practice questions so you all can study for tomorrow. Okay?